Sarah from Theatre of Science. Welcome to another interactive science lesson. I know so much about poo now, I cannot wait to share my knowledge with you. I'm going to see what a poo looks like when you've eaten a jam sandwich. So hopefully you've got the ingredients for a jam sandwich, you might have something else. But I'm going to take my scissors and cut up some bread, first of all, into my bowl, so you can do the same. What are we pretending these scissors are? What are these scissors modelling in our bodies? Very important part of our digestive system. The teeth. So the scissors are being our sharp teeth at the front. Your salivary glands, which are just here behind your ears, and kind of here in this bit of your body. As soon as you see or smell food, your salivary glands squirt saliva into your mouth. So it is true that food makes your mouth water. So that's one of the first things that happens. And then when the food is in your mouth, the saliva is water, which helps to make the food all mushy so that you can swallow it, and chemicals called enzymes as well, which start to break the food up. So basically what digestion is just making food really small so that your body can get all the nutrients that it needs out of the food. So yeah, if you're making a jam sandwich, just you can put in anything you like really, anything that you like to eat. So I'm going to put a bit of jam in. There we go. I'm going to put a bit of butter in. I'm going to make mine a PBJ because also I wanted the poo to be a bit brown. So I'm going to put a little bit of peanut butter in. Yeah. And also, hopefully, you've got a drink with you as well. So you might have had some squash, or you could just put water in. I'm going to put a little drop of squash into mine. There we go, not too much. And some water. Use up all the water because you need this glass later. So maybe you could put some in your bowl. Oh, that's already looking pretty delish, isn't it? Put some in your bowl. Drink some because it's important to stay hydrated when you're working. So get your potato masher and mash all that up. What is this modelling? What's a potato masher modelling? Your molars, your teeth at the back. Your molars grind the food up once your front teeth have bitten a chunk off. So give that a really, really good mash. Your tongue, which has helped to coat all the food with a nice even layer of saliva, pushes the food right to the back of your throat, which is called the pharynx, and away it goes down your throat. I'm going to stick in a plum as well. And my son didn't finish his tea last night, and my husband went to finish it, and I said, no, I need that particular item of food for my poo lesson. It is perfect. Ta-da! It's not really part of a jam sandwich picnic, is it? But I'm going to put some sweet corn in my poo, because I'm the teacher and my poo's got to look proper. When food is all mashed up like this in your mouth, it is called bolus. So let's find out what happens to that bolus once it's gone down your throat. The food's gone into our mouth, we've ground it up with our teeth, the saliva's helped to break it down. We've pushed it down our esophagus. So the esophagus relaxes and contracts and relaxes and contracts and pushes the food all the way down into your stomach. The difference between esophagus and esophagus is this one is the American spelling. So most of you are going to be spelling it like this. Peristalsis, which is the pushing motion I just described, is so strong that you can still swallow food even if you're upside down. And then the food goes into your stomach through this little ring-shaped muscle called the sphincter, and that closes shut so that the food can't come back up your throat. If it does, if your sphincter's not working properly, that's when you get reflux, like acid reflux, indigestion. So the stomach is lined with mucus, and it has to be because your stomach is full of acid. And the stomach acid kills any germs that might be in your food, and it also helps to break the food down even more. Now your stomach churns and contracts like once every 20 minutes. You can do this experiment with a bag where you can squish it, which is a good model, but I thought it was a bit of a waste of a plastic bag. So just give yours a little swirly swirl. Yeah, the acid in your stomach is incredibly strong. It's hydrochloric acid. It's really, really strong. Like if you drank it, it would cause you immense pain. The mucus in your stomach protects your stomach so it doesn't burn it. So sweet corn is coated with something that even the stomach can't digest, called cellulose. But your stomach does digest all the other bit of the sweet corn. So the sweet corn still looks the same, but actually like enzymes in your stomach are going into the sweet corn and nutrients are coming out. But the cellulose, which is the outside of the sweet corn, that doesn't change. So actually the sweet corn isn't exactly the same when it comes out into your poo. It just looks the same. So food stays in your stomach for about 4 hours, and when it's in this state in your stomach, it's not food anymore, it's not bolus, it's called chyme now. And things get absolutely fascinating now. I think stomach acid can melt steel, says Emma. Blimey, yeah, I can believe that. The chyme comes out of your stomach, and this is where things get brilliant. So there are some little receptor cells right at the start of your small intestine. And these little receptor cells detect when protein or fat has come into the small intestine, and they give off a hormone called CCK. And this hormone tells your stomach to sort of slow down the passage of food into the small intestine, which is what makes you feel full, because food stops leaving your stomach as quickly and you start to feel full. But I only just learned this. These receptors do not detect sugar. So that's why if you've eaten a load of sugar, the CCK isn't given off. So you don't get that full feeling. I guess that's where your sort of dessert stomach comes from. That's why even if you've eaten like a massive Sunday roast, you can still eat cake, because the cake doesn't tell your body that it's full. Down here we've got the pancreas, which again, as soon as food is detected here, sort of injects more enzymes, chemicals into your small intestine and breaks up the food even more. And here is your liver, which makes something called bile. And the liver sends the bile to the gallbladder, and the gallbladder stores it. And again, this CCK, when it detects food, it makes your gallbladder contract, and this squeezes bile down the bile duct and into your small intestine. Small intestine, this is not an accurate drawing because it's 3 to 6.5 meters long. Can you believe that? That's all in your body right now. Just crazy. Anyway, let's put some stuff into our small intestine, okay? So this is the bit where you need the glass, that hopefully is emptied, and a very old sock, because we're going to cut it up. So put the sock into your glass and sort of fold it over like this. So we're going to pour our pooey mixture into there now. Oh yeah, I was going to tell you about bile. So the really clever thing that bile does is it neutralises your stomach acid. So otherwise, bits of your stomach acid might be coming into your small intestine. That would really burn your small intestine, but your bile neutralises it, and it also helps the food to break down even more. So, is yours looking as good as mine? Look at that. So that's the chyme that's just come out of your stomach. And we are going to put your glass in your washing up bowl and then pour the chyme into the sock. That's the splat I was looking for. So you don't need to use it all. Oh, it's dripping. And then pull the sock up a bit and be able to fit more in. Is anyone really freaking out about this? It's for science, people. It's for science. We have evolved to not like poo, to not like the smell of poo, because other people's poo has got bacteria in it that you might not want to come into contact with. So people who avoided poo tended to survive. Oh. I hear that squelching. What is happening? What are we modelling now? Well, the digested food is travelling down your small intestine. All the enzymes are breaking it up. Their fats get broken into fatty acids. The carbohydrates get broken into very simple sugars. And once the food is digested, it travels all the way down here, and your small intestine is lined with something called villi. They're kind of like little hairs. And what they do is they massively increase the surface area of your small intestine. So your small intestine is already long, what's happening is nutrients from the food are passing through the small intestine and into your bloodstream, and then they go to your liver to be processed, and then those lovely nutrients get sent all around your body, make you nice and healthy. So the only thing that's left at the end of the small intestine is generally the stuff that you don't need. Look, I got an egg box to show you. So that's like what your small intestine would look like without your villi, and that's with your villi. So you can see that that's what we call an increased surface area. So the nutrients that are touching this bit or this bit or this bit or this bit, they're all seeping through into your bloodstream. Let's do the squishy bit and go into the large intestine. So in the large intestine, that's where bacteria that are living in your gut break down the food even more and give off a gas called nitrogen, aka farts. This is where the farts happen in this bit. And the large intestine mainly gets rid of the water, so let's do that now. Give this a bit of a squeeze, that's why you need your washing up bowl. So we've changed this from being our small intestine, where nutrients pass through the walls of the small intestine, to being the large intestine, where water is now passing through. And your large intestine absorbs about a litre of water every day. The large intestine explains why you need fibre in your diet, because the large intestine has got, your whole body's got loads of bacteria in it, but your large intestine has got bacteria in it, which are needed to make healthy poos and have a healthy body. And they've got to live on something, but obviously most of the nutrients by the time we get to your large intestine have gone. But we'll say good bacteria, friendly bacteria, biologists probably wouldn't like that, because it's all just bacteria really. But the bacteria that keeps us healthy, they can live off fibre, so that's why you need a lot of fibre in your diet. Now that is nearly the end of the process. Actually, the reason that poo is brown is that the bile that got put in at the start of the small intestine has reacted with various other chemicals and gone brown. So I don't have any bile, but to make my model a bit more realistic, I'm going to use this sticky barbecue sauce. Get that in there as well. And then, at the end of all that, you've got faeces, and the faeces get stored in your rectum and then pushed out of your anus. So we need to make a little hole in this sock and squeeze out a poo. Wiping barbecue sauce off my sock. We've come a long way from the first rainbows lesson, haven't we, during lockdown? So cut a small hole in the sock. Get some help using the scissors if you need some. Give it a squeeze. So this would be the rectum storing the poo, and this would be the anus where the poo comes out. That's it, Katie, deep breaths. This is not the poo of a well person. Wow. Are you guys squeezing along with me? Do wash your hands if you've finished, yeah? Sing happy birthday about 57 times. Ta-da! There you go. So, not a bad model of a poo. We've got some liquid, so a large proportion of your poo is actually water. We've got some sweet corn, which in reality would look the same, but actually the nutrients would have come out, and it's just that hard cellulose case of the sweet corn which remains. Yeah, someone asking why it's pink. Yeah, it's got a plum and some jam in it. Like I say, if your poo looks like this, you need to get yourself to a hospital immediately. One other thing that I want to talk about before story time. Yeah, artsy. What actually happens to this poo? Flush the toilet. It goes down, down, down through the pipes into the sewers, and then it ends up at a sewage treatment plant. Now, technology has come on an incredible amount. Like a few hundred years ago, we usually just used to dump this stuff with all the bacteria in it into the river. But nowadays, sewage plants, I just learned this, I was so happy when I learned this, they put it into a tank and they very, very gently stir it. And this causes little bits of poo to clump together. And these clumps are called flocks. So somewhere right now is a tank with a flock of poo whizzing around in it. And eventually the flocks of poo sink to the bottom of the tank, and this is called sludge. And then the sludge, this is quite a new thing that we're doing, which is just amazing. The sludge gets dried, it gets boiled to kill the germs, so it's clean sludge, and then they add bacteria which break it down. And when the bacteria consume the poo, they create methane. And if you burn methane, you can generate electricity. So actually now, the really good sewage plants are running using energy from the sewage. How amazing is that? What a time to be alive. Right, have you got cleaned up? Are you ready for story time? There were a lot of choices for story time today. Wombats do cubed poos. Wombats have squared poo. So there was a scientist who studied like fluid motions who found out about this, and she worked out why wombat poo is square. Took her quite a long time to get hold of the wombats. But she didn't quite make it to story time. The Reverend William Buckland was a geology professor at Oxford University, the Dean of Westminster, and one of the first people to study ancient poo. He'd won a medal for it and everything. So in 1822, he thought he'd found some fossilised hyena poo in a cave in Yorkshire. And to check it really was fossilised hyena poo, he collected some poo from real live spotted hyenas and sent it away to be analysed. He did this quite a few times until eventually the poos came back with a note from the analyst saying, it may well be for you and me not to have the reputation of too frequently and too minutely examining faecal products. But he couldn't help it. He'd caught the bug. William was too excited by the power of poo fossils. He'd proved, using that fossilised poo, that hyenas used to live in the UK in ancient times. And then he went to look at some ichthyosaur poo that the scientist Mary Anning had found down south. And this got him even more excited. He just loved how the ichthyosaur poo brought him into immediate contact with events of immeasurably distant periods. So he called this fossilised poo a coprolite, which is Greek for dung made of stone. At the same time William Buckland was doing that, across the sea, an American minister had found some dinosaur poo, and he said, truly, this may be called a scientific miracle, a resurrection from the dead. Not everybody appreciated the scientific value of fossilised poo. So in the 1840s, people actually started mining coprolite because it contains a lot of phosphate, which is a very good fertiliser. About 2 million tonnes of coprolite was dug up, ground up in the UK, a lot of it from Ipswich, which still has a coprolite street, and also a very beautiful museum, and it's the oldest Anglo-Saxon town in England, and you should definitely visit it. So let's fast forward 200 years. Karen Chin is one of the world's best coprologists, although to be fair, there still aren't that many. Studying fossilised excrement still seems a bit weird to most people, but Chin's work has given us a new understanding of the time of the dinosaurs. In the 1980s, Chin took a job with the person, do you recognise this guy? It was the person who the main character in Jurassic Park is based on, the legendary Jack Horn. Jack was studying the fossils of a newly discovered duck-billed dinosaur, and he thought he'd found some fossilised poo. So Chin volunteered to try and prove that these stones were indeed coprolites. Now, they weren't shaped like poo, but this didn't bother her. Why was she not bothered? I'll give you a clue. These duck-billed dinosaurs were very big. Chin reasoned that the poo would have had a long way to fall and would have splattered when it landed. That's good, that, isn't it? That's quite a good special effect. I'm going to do that again. I'm quite proud of that. So she wasn't bothered that they didn't look like poo. She cut them open and got incredibly excited when she found little burrows inside. A dung beetle expert confirmed her highest hopes. They were dung beetle burrows. So this was actually amazing news because scientists had known that obviously dinosaurs did poos. So there must have been creatures that recycled the poo back into the earth. But until now, there had been no evidence to show how that was happening. So Chin had discovered that dung beetles existed in the time of the dinosaurs. She said in an interview with Nautilus magazine that it was the coolest bit of her research. Here we had evidence of interaction between dinosaurs and dung beetles. Fossil bones are really important because they tell us what animals looked like and how they moved, but Chin says they don't tell us how animals interacted, and poo does. So once, Chin found near a T-Rex skeleton an enormous fossilized poo. It was 2.4 litres and it had bone splinters in it, so she knew that the poo was from a creature that ate meat. She was incredibly excited. She called a doctor who specialised in bowel movements, and she said on the phone, "I need to know what's the biggest poo a human can do." It took quite a long time for her to prove to the doctor that she was serious. He explained that he really looked at his patient's poo to know their health. He didn't really look at the size of their poos, but he thought it was very unlikely that a human could pass 2.4 litres of excrement. Chin whooped with joy. She'd identified the first ever fossil of a T-Rex and discovered that this dinosaur ground up its victims' bones. Chin decided to get a degree in geology, a doctorate degree, and she wrote her final essay on dinosaur coprolites. Still, she wasn't thinking that she would study them as a job forever, because no one really wanted to say that they worked with poo. But now she says she's stopped feeling embarrassed about it. Scientists just keep sending her intriguing samples of poo, and she says some of the most fascinating questions she's ever encountered have come from these poos. I'll give you one last example. Near the layer of rock that marks where the dinosaurs became extinct, a scientist had found something that he couldn't explain. Chin visited him in 2010 and climbed up a ladder and peeked in to the highest drawer that contained the specimen. And she was literally just telling him that she was too busy, she couldn't take on any more projects, when she peeped into the contents of the drawer. Oh, it was just too cool! Rocks with the fossilised remains of weird burrows in them! So Chin sliced up the rock, studied it under a microscope, asked a burrow expert for advice, and they decided that these were the burrows of worms. And then she got even more excited because she found some grey little clay-like lumps. Now worms turn soil into clay-like poos. She'd found poos done by earthworms that had just survived the mass extinction that killed the dinosaurs. Some burrowing mammals survived the extinction that killed the dinosaurs, and scientists didn't really know how they'd done that, because the thing that killed off the dinosaurs, it also killed off plants, and it killed off the insects that lived off the plants. Now Chin thinks that worms were protected in their burrows as the dinosaurs and the plants and the other insects died, and that the other creatures survived by eating the worms, which were having a great time eating all the rotting plants. Once again, fossilised poo had taught us something about the ancient world, an achievement not to be sniffed at. So, this is the Bristol stool chart. It categorises poo into all the different ways that it can look, and it tells you what a healthy poo looks like and what an unhealthy poo looks like. So, number 1 is like hard little lumps like this, like rabbit poos. Number 2 is still lumps but kind of bound together in a sausage. Number 3 is a sausage that is a bit cracked. Poo number 4 is a smooth, sort of snake-like poo. Number 5, very soft blobs. Number 6, even softer blobs with very fluffy edges. And number 7 is liquid. Now, a healthy poo, apparently, should really be a level 3 or a level 4. Females are more likely to do level 1 and 2 poos, and males are more likely to do level 6 and 7 poos. Floating also not good. So yeah, watch out for that. Right, I'm going to leave you with just a couple more fascinating poo facts that I found out. I found out that there's loads of poo on the moon. You don't want to weigh down a spaceship when you're flying into space because of energy efficiency. So why would you take your poo home? There's 96 bags of human waste that have been left on the moon from people who have walked on the moon and then left like their nappies in bags. So there you go. And also space related, on the ISS, the International Space Station, they get rid of their poos by just sort of lobbing them out into space, and sometimes they burn up in Earth's atmosphere. So sometimes when you've seen a shooting star, you might be making a wish on astronaut poo. And the final poo fact that I had to share with you, so we talked a little bit about the bacteria in your gut and how you really need this bacteria. So you can get like yogurty drinks which put bacteria in your gut, but apparently they only put like one type in and they're not really very useful. The best way to have healthy gut bacteria is to not take antibiotics, because antibiotics can kill the bacteria in your gut. So this allows more space for harmful bacteria to grow. So one of the things that scientists are doing to give people healthy gut bacteria is poo transplants. Poo transplants. That is what they're called, fecal transplants. They put someone else's poo inside your large intestine, and that like puts more good healthy bacteria in your body. You can't swallow it at the moment because it would get killed by your stomach acid. So yeah, there you go. I leave you with my fact about poo transplants. So this was sort of the last interactive story time science lesson of a Tuesday afternoon. I can't believe a lot of you have come the whole way through lockdown with me. But it's not over, so I'm going to move this lesson with the story time and the activities that you do alongside me to a Thursday at 6 o'clock. And this slot, Tuesday at 1:30, this is now for homeschoolers or revision, and if you want to catch up later, it'll all go on YouTube as normal, but this one will be more curriculum science. On a Tuesday, I will still be here, and actually it is interactive, but there's no story time. It's more kind of, yeah, like school science to sort of set you up for exams. If you want facts about poo, like, and dinosaur of the week, and me reading some news and doing cool science experiments with you, and a story time, you've got to tune into Facebook, 6 o'clock on Thursday. Yeah, thank you so much to all of you who came to this poo lesson, and all of you who have followed all these interactive lockdown lessons for so long. It makes me a bit emotional. I probably wouldn't still be able to do it without the people supporting me on Patreon, so thank you very much for that. So yeah, Patreon comes with a range of benefits. You can sign up to support me with £3 or £5 or £10 a month, and you get like different thank yous, so a cookbook that I've written with lots of different science in it, and some activity sheets, and with £5 you get this magazine that I'm writing for you, which I'm actually going to be able to post you next time. I'm very excited about that. And for £10 you get all that, and you get like the occasional Zoom lesson as well. Kim, I'm excited that I'm keeping Tuesdays. Yeah, I don't want to let you guys go. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey of poo, and I'll see you next time. Bye. You liked the first magazine? Oh, that's good. It's going to be an October-November issue, the next magazine, so I'm going to do it about Guy Fawkes, because he's local to York, and there's loads of brilliant science around Guy Fawkes, like sparklers and fireworks and bonfires and all that. And yeah, I found someone who will print it out for me for not too much. If you support him with £5 or more, I'm going to post you my magazine. Hattie and Oscar Science is cool. Yeah, I've learned so much doing these for you. I'm so glad we got into this. Thank you, Charlotte. I will have a nice holiday. It's like classic UK holiday. It's brilliant. We're just eating in every night in a cottage that has a salad spinner but no can opener. Oh, it's just me, so you can't do Thursdays. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, I'm repeating it. Oh my goodness, I'm so bad at this. I'm repeating it on a Sunday morning. I'm doing Thursdays at 6, and I'm going to repeat it on a live on a Sunday morning at 9:30. Just to see like which one's more popular. Wow, my poo is like almost fluorescent now. All right, folks. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. And I hope I see you next week for atoms, elements and compounds, unless you're at school, in which case I will see you on Thursday or Sunday. I'm going to go put that information on Facebook. I'm going to stop talking. Bye.